have to be really careful about what we say yes to and what we say no to. And I've got a number of hacks basically that I use these days. So my calendar only has my availability in it. And if people can't fit into those availabilities, then I make a really considered decision about it, about whether or not I'm going to take them on outside of those times. And I would never take people on outside of times that don't suit me. Hello and welcome. Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to your needs, the needs of the practicing natural therapist. With interviews, herbal discussions, something business and something clinical each week, you'll get the variety you need and enjoy to stay motivated in practice. Hello, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite-Sized Podcast. I'm so pleased that you could join me here today. I wanted to talk to you about saying no. So I recently put a post into Strictly Education and Support, the Facebook group that I run for practitioners. And it was Thoughts Thursday. I just had to say no to my daughter. And then I'd said no to my daughter again. And then I'd said no to my daughter again. And then I said yes. And she said, oh, hey, you finally said yes. And it made me really think about how often we say no and how often we don't say no, how often we just say yes to things and we pile the load upon ourselves. So the requests from my daughter were not really relevant, needed, or, justified. So I felt okay on saying no to those things. But often we'll be asked to do things that for our business that we think might be for our business. Can we take on a client at a wrong time, at a time that's not in our diary? Can we do something for someone that's going to be much bigger? I mean, my no's to my daughter were quite simple. She wanted a bit of junk food. No. Can I give her money for something or other? No, those weren't reasonable requests. Thank you very much. But when people ask us to, oh, I can't see you any of those times. Do you do a late night? Can you? And you say you're late night. And they say, oh, well, I can't do a Thursday. Could you see me on a Tuesday? And they keep pushing the boundaries and we say yes. And then they come and then they're late and they push those boundaries. And we have to be really careful about what we say yes to and what we say no to. And I've got a number of hacks basically that I use these days. So my calendar only has my availability in it. And if people can't fit into those availabilities, then I make a really considered decision about it, about whether or not I'm going to take them on outside of those times. And I would never take people on outside of times that don't suit me. Though I certainly wouldn't turn around and say, well, my late night is Thursday. So if someone said, can I see you on a Tuesday night? Well, no, you can't. It doesn't work. But it might be, yes, I can do a slightly earlier or a slightly later than what I have available in my calendar. It just depends what else is going on. But so saying no can be really hard. We're brought up to be, to say yes to things, to put ourselves out for others, to make sure that we're the ones who are there helping, supporting, and doing all the things that need doing. So, what doesn't serve you at the moment? I have a calendar specifically saying my dates and times of availability. I make sure that when I do things, they're done on a particular day. I've started, I'll see clients at particular dates and times, and I'll see mentees on other dates and times just to make my life run more smoothly. People creating opportunities. I'm going away to speak at the NHAA symposium. And so I have to include that into my diary. It's long enough away that I'm able to organize things, but I've given myself a little bit of a holiday in there as well, because I know that there's going to be a lot of creation needed. It's going to be a lot of work. I'm delivering a workshop. So there's a lot for me to do in that. And am I going to be able to do it between now and then? Am I, it's something I want to do, but can I do this with all of the other things I have to do? And we want to help everyone. We want to be able to help everyone. We've come into a healing and helping profession to help others, but we can't help all of the people all of the time with everything they need help with. And we have to know our own limitations, our own burnout, when we're going to hit burnout, when our capacity is full. not just my calendar, but my phone, it doesn't ring for an unknown number. So I actually never put my clients' phone numbers in my phone. Even some clients that I've had for 10 years are not in my phone. And it's not because they cross any boundaries. I've been seeing them for 10 years. They certainly don't cross boundaries. We're all perfect on that. But that means that my phone accepts nothing from an unknown caller. I get extra time in my day because mostly unknown callers, let's be honest, are somebody trying to sell you something if your phone number is on the internet like mine is. So it won't accept calls. You have to leave a message. So all of those automated, the phone call, it has that gap at the beginning, doesn't it? And then there's a click and then there's a voice because you've answered and you're hurriedly trying to hang up in that gap before you actually have to speak to anyone. So they and they never leave a message because it's all automated. So my phone won't answer numbers I don't know. It has a night shift from 8 p.m. every night, and it has a wake up at 7 a.m. So anything happens between those times, only my favorites can get through, and I only have 5 favorites. I've made sure that I've limited the number of favorites that are in there, maybe 7, not many anyway. It's certainly not a whole page full. But these simple things help me to say no because they give me that time and that space and those boundaries. So they're really simple things to implement. And I may well have mentioned them before. I've certainly talked about them in Strictly Practitioners before now and Strictly Education and Support in the Facebook groups. And I talk to my mentees all the time about making sure they're structuring their time, because when we structure our time, we also give ourselves time to work on our business, not just in our business. Because when we see that client, we're doing all the research, we're catching up, we're making sure we're up to date. If it's something we've seen before, if it's something we haven't seen before, then we have to do all that background research, learning and understanding on the condition. So we've got a lot to do, and we actually need to give ourselves time in which to do that so that we don't feel that we're being taken advantage of. We have to limit the amount of time we spend researching each client as well. Otherwise, you'll be down a rabbit hole finding out all of this information. So when we want to show up and be our absolute best version of us, we have to learn to say no. And, we have to make sure that with that no comes that expansion and that building and that growing of who we are, where we're at, and what we're doing. I mean, we don't say no to everything. You're going to say yes to lots of things, but it means you get that chance, that time to expand, grow, and blossom. So, what do you think about saying no? Please tell me, message me, email me. I love to hear from you all. And while you're thinking about doing that, you can just pop in and give me a 5-star review if you wouldn't mind on Apple or whatever device you're using. That would be very, very cool. Because, as I want to expand and grow and I want to reach more people, I need you to help me to do that. I need you to share my podcast with people, to share what I'm doing with your colleagues so that they know what I'm doing so that I can help more people in a way that works within my boundaries and works within my support systems, because then I can give my very, very best to my mentees and to the people that I'm supporting. So I hope this has helped you today. I hope maybe it's given you a little reminder of how you need or how you should think about your boundaries again, and how you can, stop yourself seeing the people you don't want to see, the people that are taxing you. It might be in your personal life as well that you need to let people go and that you need to say no to things. And that is totally okay. So I will leave you with those thoughts, and I hope you have an absolutely beautiful rest of day, and I look forward to catching up with you. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.